I am trying this in computer camera thing again, so I am super duper apologetic, I guess is the word I'm looking for. If I still seem a little awkward with my sitting here. All right. This is episode 52. 52 of Happy Healthy Meals with Risa Auger. I am Risa Auger, and I'm so glad that you are here. I can't believe it's been a whole year. I think my first episode, and I should go back and listen to it, was all about Thanksgiving because it's that time of year. Thanksgiving is in 2 weeks. I don't know what you're in charge of, but I am in charge of carrots because I make these carrots that my family loves. I make them at Thanksgiving and Christmas and then on demand for whatever. And I always have to make extra for my husband's Nana because she loves them. They are like one of her favorite things. And I make her a whole extra batch and I put them in little containers for her so that she can freeze them and then she eats them for I don't know however long they last, but she can pop them in the microwave. And I can talk about how to make those. They're super, super simple, and I probably will, but I'm also in charge of a green salad. I like to make mine fresh, and I like to bring a couple different options for dressing, and then people can decide what they want. And selfishly, that also gives me an option to just make myself a big old salad for whatever meal that we are at, because I'll put a little bit of turkey or a little bit of ham or whatever, and then I don't have room on my plate for the other stuff because I've made myself a giant salad. Except that I usually do go and have some mac and cheese that my mother-in-law makes because it's the what is her name? The Pioneer Woman. She makes the Pioneer Woman macaroni and cheese, and it's amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I really need to get a chair that is not on wheels because I slide sometimes when I'm talking to you guys. I have noticed. Okay. So I will talk about those carrots that I just mentioned. And to make those carrots, I use rainbow carrots. So the ones, the big ones that come in purple, orange, white-ish. And they are so good. And they're so pretty when you lay them all out. So what I do is I put them in a baking, like the thin pan, not like I've done them in the glass. They turn out better on a baking sheet, and then I transfer them to the glass to transport them. But you can do them in the glass if you don't want to dirty a couple different things. So I spread them out in a single layer. I leave them super rustic. So I just wash them really well because they're prettier that way, I feel like. I literally put olive oil, I drizzle olive oil on, and then I drizzle some balsamic on, and then I sprinkle them with allspice, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and that's it. That's it. And I put them in the oven at 415 for 40 minutes. I get them nice and soft. At about the 25-minute mark, I will pull them out. I will turn them, and I will sprinkle some feta on, just a really light sprinkling of that feta, because then I serve the feta with it. And everybody puts on as much as they kind of want. My husband, of course, the cheese lover that he is, puts a nice big scoop on there. And so do I, actually, because I love feta. I love cheese. Let's just talk about cheese. I could talk about cheese for an entire episode of Happy Healthy Meals, but I won't. I promise. Okay. But I do want to talk about what is on my meal plan this week so that you guys get some inspiration. I will, of course, put links to things in the email that goes out. If you are on my email list, you get those links. What was I going to say? Oh, I didn't finish the carrots. Sorry. So just transport them just like that. You take them out of the oven. Oh, note on the carrots. There's some that are super thick. I cut those in half, lengthwise. And that's it. So that they're all sort of the same thickness and they all sort of cook the same. You want to go for the same thickness. So no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're cooking, that's why things when you go to the restaurant are all exactly the same size. It's because then they all cook evenly, which is a good tip, right? So the smaller you cut your first ones, the smaller you need to cut everything else, and they just need to be sort of the same So it's up to you how much chopping you want to do when you start chopping, right? That's it. I haven't decided what kind of green salad I'm making for Thanksgiving yet. It will probably have cranberries because I like that, or maybe apples and walnuts. Just something a little bit more festive than your usual, just cucumbers and tomatoes, right? With ranch dressing. I will bring ranch dressing because the kids, but I will also bring like a fig balsamic and just a balsamic that I make. Sometimes I make this really awesome orange one. It's like orange. It's the juice of an orange. It is garlic. It is uh, olive oil and a little bit of salt and a little pepper. I believe that's it. I haven't made it in a really long time, but that is always like a super fresh, like bright dressing that I really like, and I'll put that in like a little container and take it with, and just remind people you need to shake it before you pour it on, and that goes really well with like the cranberries because they work really well together. Speaking of that, Trader Joe's has an orange cake right now as one of their seasonals. Oh, it was so good. It's like fresh and lovely in your mouth, and I did not buy it. I did the sample, I enjoyed it, and I did not buy it, and I was so proud of myself because I really wanted dessert that day. But I digress. Let's talk about what is on my meal plan this week. Today is Meatless Monday, and so I am doing some black beans for my protein of the evening. I did chickpeas for lunch. So good, so good. All right, so I am going to make polenta waffles tonight, and I've talked about this before. You mash up your polenta, you add 1 egg white, you add a little bit of cheese, and whatever your seasonings are. Today we're going to go a little on the Mexican side, so I'm going to put some green chilies in there, make them a little bit spicy, and then I'm going to top it with some black beans, and I bought a bell pepper. So I'm going to saute all that so that it is warm, and then top it on the waffle, and then a dollop of cream cheese, and it'll look like a dollop of butter or a dollop of, I don't know, whipped cream or whatever goes on regular waffles, right? So that's where I'm going with that. I might chop up some greens and put them in there just to have something green. Not really sure yet, but actually, knowing me, I probably will. And it will probably be spinach or arugula. And just a little bit, just enough to add a little bit of green without overpowering, because we really want that corn, that cumin and paprika to sort of come out, right? So that's going to be amazing. Tomorrow night, I am roasting a squash, and I'm going to fill it with some greens, of course. Instead of a salad, I'm going to do some greens. I'm going to top it with some feta because it's amazing. Remember I talked about how I love cheese. I love cheese. And then I'm going to do some really simple grilled chicken. I actually picked up some herbed butter. And so I'm going to grill my chicken in the herbed butter. It's going to add some flavor and some, it's going to be a really great fat to cook the grilled chicken in. And I'm going to use my grill pan to do that. And it's going to be amazing. Amazing. Okay. Because I love the squash, and it kind of gives you that feeling, except that it is 80 degrees today, you guys. Notice that I'm in a tank top. I'm in a tank top. It is November. I was just talking about Thanksgiving being next week or 2 weeks. No, it's next week. It's next Thursday. Oh my gosh. I will do a purely Thanksgiving holiday-ish episode next week, and I need to write that down so I remind myself. Probably. I might actually, I don't know, because the week before Thanksgiving, I like to eat everything that is not Thanksgiving, because I know I'm going to have so much Thanksgiving food. So much Thanksgiving food. Okay, back to the recipes. Wednesday, Fast Cook Wednesday, I am going to do a spicy slaw along with some barbecue ribs. And the slaw, because it's like the barbecue ribs, I was going to put some corn in there, and we'll probably have some chips with it, chips and salsa, but I'm not sure on that yet. Usually they end up coming out, so I don't have to write them down, but I'm looking at my list telling you what I got. So the ribs are not a super fast cook. But my husband is home. He does not have a game this week, which I'm super happy about, which means I can put them out on the counter, have them ready to go, and tell him when to put them in the oven. And the spicy slaw I can make any time of the day, and the longer it sits, the better it's going to taste. I picked up some shredded cabbage mix. It's like red and green cabbage. And then I picked up shredded carrots to put in there. So it's a little sweet. And I'm probably just going to do a little bit of seasoning and olive oil and vinegar in there. And that'll be really yummy with the barbecue ribs. I got the barbecue ribs at Butcher Box because they were something I haven't tried yet, and I really wanted to try something new. I love all of their meat. The grilled chicken is actually going to be from Butcher Box too, you guys. This is like the one thing that I do not buy at Trader Joe's, and only because Butcher Box is freaking amazing. It's all organic, and it's a good price, and funny story about Butcher Box. By the way, I have a code if you guys want to try it. So check out my Instagram. There's a link there in my bio, or I can shoot you one. But if you save money, I earn points, and then I get free meat. Yay, we both win. I was gonna say about so the weekend after I quit my job, we were talking about budgets, and I was saying, we might need to not get Butcher Box anymore. And my husband was like, no, we are getting Butcher Box. Butcher Box stays. And I was like, well, okay, then I'm glad to see where your priorities are. So seriously, you guys, it's that good. Butcher Box is so good. Okay, off my soapbox there with the meat. On Thursday, my mommy's coming over for dinner, and we're doing this like she brings her own dinner, I make my dinner, and she's just gonna sit. We're gonna play games because on the next day I say goodbye for 2 weeks to them for the holidays. They're gonna go see my sister, and I'm going to miss them a ton. So I get to see my mommy for a little bit. We are going to have broccoli pasta salad, and I was actually sort of thinking about swapping out the pasta for brown rice. I haven't decided on that yet, but same mouthfeel, similar presentation. Anyway, just thinking those are easy swaps. And then I'm going to make myself a piece of salmon and my husband a piece of steak because, yay, I've talked about it before. Butcher Box things come in single packs, some of them, so I can just make him a piece of steak and pull out something different for me because I'm not a huge red meat person. I don't have anything against it. I just don't crave it as much as he does. And then on Friday, it is just me and my kid, and we are, I think we're going to go to a movie, an early movie, and then we're going to come home and clean up some DVR stuff and watch some Hallmark movie, or some Hallmark channel, I should say. I'm not really sure exactly, but we're going to have some girl time fun, and I am planning on making tuna tacos for myself in tuna tacos and just a plain salad, whatever sort of leftovers. If I have some bell peppers left over, I'll probably throw those in. If I have some mushrooms left over, I'll probably throw those in. In the tacos with the tuna, make it stretch a little bit further. But I am going to use coconut tortillas because they're yummy. And then make myself that salad, and who knows what will go in there. But I'm excited for girls' night. And so today I really wanted to talk through roasting squash, which is very, very similar to roasting those carrots that I talked about earlier. Roasting veggies is got to be the easiest way to cook them, to bring out their richness, to bring out their flavor with minimal preparation, and you don't have to like watch them or baby them or anything. Like there's no stirring really. There's like a toss in the middle, and that's it. So I love roasting vegetables, especially during the winter, which normally would be now when it's cooling off, except that it's 80 degrees today. So squash for us, I'm doing the acorn squash, but all squashes you cook the same. You can flavor them differently. You can flavor them to whatever you're gonna stuff them with, or you can serve them plain. Like I like to slice up delicata squash and almost serve it like French fries, where you can like dip it in things. Which means I spray them with a little bit of extra oil so they get nice and crispy. I also like to dry them. If I'm going to serve them that way, I like to dry them out for a little bit so that you don't get so much moisture, so they're not as soft when you are dipping. This is my motion for dipping. I dip them in the sauce, and I'm watching myself and it looks ridiculous, but you guys know what I mean, right? So I'm going to do acorn squash this week, but I've done, spaghetti squash this way, delicata squash this way. There's like so many different squashes, and I've done episodes just on squashes. So you can go back and look at those and get some ideas. But for roasting, honestly, you warm your oven to 415, 425 if it's something more dense and you need more heat. And I like to cheat and microwave my squash for like 2 minutes to soften it so it's easier to scoop all the goop out. Except delicata squash is usually soft, and so you don't need to microwave it. But like when you're doing spaghetti squash, oh, it's so firm, and so if you don't put it in the microwave, it's really hard to get out, I feel like. So I cheat and I do like a couple of poke holes like you're doing a potato, and put a wet paper towel and I put it in the microwave for like 3 minutes, and I let it cool off a little bit, and then I cut it in half lengthwise, and I scoop out the seeds and the gook that comes out, toss that, spray it with olive oil, and put it on a baking sheet and put it in the oven. And you can sprinkle it with garlic, you can sprinkle it with Italian seasoning. If you're going to go more Mexican, you can sprinkle it with taco seasoning. Just make sure whatever seasonings you are using does not have salt in it. That way you control the amount of salt that's in your meal. Yeah, so cook it for 25 minutes. Kind of feel it and make sure that it's the consistency that you want it to be. You can take it out at that point. You can rotate it at that point depending on your oven. For me and my oven, 25 to 30 minutes is perfect. And so it depends on what else. If I have a lot of things in the oven, then it takes a little bit longer. If I don't have a lot of things in the oven, it doesn't take as long. The delicata squash, I've even done in the toaster oven, where I'll put that in first and I'll do all my other prep. And then by the time I'm done with the prep and ready to serve, it's done and ready, and I didn't have to time it. It's just that's how long it took for me to do all the other things that I knew I needed to do. So roasting is an excellent, excellent option. I will write down the directions for roasting in the email that I send out, and maybe in the show notes too, so make sure to check below for the show notes. I will make myself a note, make myself a note to put in the show notes. Roasting directions, because I like notes and I will forget if I do not write it down. And that is all. That is all I have for you guys today. Make sure you check out my social media. I am at creative.fit.hungry on Instagram and Facebook. I am not on Twitter, but I post my meals there. I post notes about my meals. I post how yummy it was. And you can see it, how I plate it, how it comes together, because sometimes it comes together in different ways, even though I make very similar things. And I'm excited to see your comments. Leave me a review, hit subscribe, all the things, right? Because you want to make sure that you are getting the newest episodes ASAP, so there you get one every single week. And I guess that's it. Until next week, have a great rest of your day. And I want to hear from you, so leave some comments. Bye, guys.